We are in Bayeux, visiting the Tapestry Museum. It's a medieval rendition of the Norman conquest of England, 1066 and all that, if you remember. And it's sort of like a cloth movie of stills of the battle. And of course, battles result in corpses. Well, it's something I hardly have ever thought of. What is the role of military cemeteries? Bayeux has a very large Commonwealth cemetery of World War II dead. In the Commonwealth, people are generally buried where they died, unlike the American practice of sending bodies back to the States to be buried. Bayeux had a large military hospital, and we know what that means. Also, the fallen from nearby battles like that at Pegasus Bridge are consolidated here in this one cemetery. I've never thought much about headstones and what they should convey. Obviously, they mark the grave of a fallen individual in the war. But here's a Commonwealth headstone, and here is the Latin cross, which is the headstone that's used in foreign cemeteries. Here are the elements of the Commonwealth headstone. It's the fifth element, this little pit that's around each headstone, that allows it to be individualized. And as you'll see in the next little excerpt, the Poppy Association goes along and puts in these pictures and so forth. Very nice. I'm afraid my picture taking with my iPhone is not the greatest. Here's a snap of a fellow who was in the Royal Marines. He died on D-Day, and his personal message is, I have fought the good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. And the Poppy Association puts in the pictures and handles the plantings, but each grave is somewhat different. It is 25 miles from the Bayeux Cemetery to the American Cemetery. Both cemeteries are similar in many regards. Both are monuments to remember the fallen, and they have the same patterns of headstone placement. The American Battle Monuments Commission manages the overseas cemeteries, while in the States, cemeteries are managed by various military branches. Like the Army manages Arlington, and its headstones are like those of the Commonwealth. American overseas cemeteries have opted for the Latin cross, an austere and simple and elegant design with shortcomings. The American Battle Monuments Commission has developed apps for the various sites that they manage, and I'm a big fan. So we'll let the Normandy app explain the Latin cross. First, we're just going to scroll through the app until we get to the part where it explains what's on the Latin cross. And you start with your name, your rank, your unit, the state you enlisted in, and the day of death. And if there are any medals, they're so noted. We started with an accidental question about headstones. What are they for? And when we looked at the Commonwealth headstone, it was like an encyclopedia of information in comparison to the Latin cross. But the Latin cross was selected more than a century ago in different times. Our tour group provided us with a number of experiences that allowed us to connect. We had a wreath-laying ceremony. We were provided roses, which we could lay at the graveside of whomever we chose. And then with Lori, we all went searching for Willard's grave, and we found it. A very moving experience. The resident historian with the group provided us with some readings of citations for Medal of Honor winners, and that helped us connect.
Sergeant Perguri, on his own initiative, advanced up the hill under withering fire and worked his way to the crest, where he discovered an entrenchment leading to the main enemy fortifications 200 yards away. Without hesitating, he leaped into the trench, moved towards the emplacement. Encountering a squad of enemy riflemen, he fearlessly attacked them with hand grenades and bayonets, killing 8, forcing 3 to surrender. Continuing along the trench, he single-handedly forced the surrender of 32 more riflemen, capturing the machine gunner, and opened the way to the leading elements of the battalion.
Here we scroll through the app for Frank, and you can see as we go through all the information that's packed in there, including his citation that Dr. Davis just read. An interesting fact is that Frank lived through that attack and was only killed 6 days later. I certainly wish I knew about these apps before we started the trip. But as you can see, the app is there, and you can get at it through the internet, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So we started out with Willard and Laurie's story, and we found out all kinds of things by just using the app. And here's his memorial on his road by Utah Beach. And then, of course, we learned a lot about Frank from the app. The app contains thousands of very interesting stories about people who are buried here. This is a story about Mary, who worked with a postal battalion, all African-American woman, and she and 2 of her compatriots were killed in a Jeep accident, and they're buried here in Normandy. Tours are designed to provide services, along with guides and experts to provide context and interpretation for us. One salient and transformative moment is when we, the living, connect with the fallen and learn their stories. Hence my interest in headstones and learning about who's buried here. This has been a wonderful experience, and I've learned a lot. Thank you, everyone.